Hi, this is Kim from NESSP, and I am here today to speak with you about Lesson 1, Documenting Your Mission from the Roads from Earth to Venus companion course. Let's get started. The guiding question for this lesson is, how can students apply documentation practices to keep track of their mission to Venus? A lot of things start in this lesson that are kept up throughout the whole companion course, so it is a very important lesson, even though no deliverables are finished by the time this lesson is finished. Let's talk about the 5 E's for this lesson. In Engage, students will explore some introductory materials about NASA and Venus and compile a list of their questions on these topics. This sparks curiosity and allows you to gather prior knowledge about what students might already think or know about NASA and Venus so that you can leverage it in upcoming lessons. Before the lesson, review those introductory resources in the first part of it, Explore, and decide which ones will be best for your students. The companion course is geared towards students in grades 3 through 12, so there should be resources there that will work for all of your students. The other thing you should do before the lesson is decide what format you will keep your class question board in. Will it be a physical question board in your class? Will it be electronic? How will you keep those questions, especially throughout the other lessons as more questions come in and some of the questions are answered? And that class question board is one of the things that starts in this lesson, but will be revisited throughout the companion course. In the Explore section, students will learn more about NASA's mission to Venus by playing a game, Loteria. This game is based on a Mexican game. It's similar to Bingo, but the cards will contain missions and people and scientific and engineering ideas about NASA's exploration of Venus. Then students will review the resources in the Getting Up to Speed document. This document contains a list of curated videos, articles, and other resources to help students be ready for each lesson as it comes along. Before the lesson, it will be important for you to review that Loteria activity and decide if you will use the physical version or the online version, as well as reviewing those Getting Up to Speed resources to know which ones might work best for your students. And the materials are just the printed Loteria materials if you plan on using the physical game. This is, again, an opportunity for students to connect with local and cultural relevance. The Loteria game, as I mentioned, is very important to Mexico. All right, in Explain, students will learn about all 8 mission objectives for this companion course and identify their funds of knowledge that are related to each MO. Funds of knowledge might be a new term, and basically funds of knowledge come from families, communities, and culture and are based in an individual's lived experiences. A lot of people think that knowledge comes from school, and while that definitely is important, we also know that our out-of-school experiences form a big base of our knowledge, especially when we're growing up. All students have funds of knowledge. They have things that they do, food traditions, recreation traditions, anything like that that they have learned from their family, their community, or their culture could count as a funds of knowledge. And these funds of knowledge can be very useful in helping students with the MOs. The MOs are described, and then students say, oh, I know a lot about that because of this thing that I've done in my lived experience. This funds of knowledge document is another document that is started in this lesson, but should be revisited throughout. And it definitely comes into play in lesson 7 when students are thinking about potential career choices. In the Elaborate, students will learn about science and engineering notebooks and mission development logs, or MDL. You'll be hearing this acronym MDL a lot, and that is the mission development log. Before the lesson, we recommend that you create electronic copies of our MDL template, and that's 1 copy per team for the mission development log. Other materials include a science and engineering notebook for each student. They should each be documenting their own science and engineering notebook, but the team will submit 1 MDL to you at the end of the companion course. And again, this mission development log is started in this lesson, but it is updated throughout the companion course. In Evaluate, students will start their science and engineering notebook based on this lesson and their team's mission development log. And again, as I mentioned before, the mission development log, the funds of knowledge, as well as that class question board continue to be updated in all lessons. And the MDL and funds of knowledge are finalized as part of lesson and MO8. Finally, in Extend, students can either explore notebooks that past and present scientists, engineers, and designers have made, or explore careers related to this lesson. You have two options there for that optional Extend part of the lesson. Some standards alignment highlights for this lesson include obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. That is one of the 8 science and engineering practices in the NGSS, as well as some engineering content standards around teamwork and communication. In addition, there are social emotional learning standards in Washington State around teamwork, communication, and cooperation to meet shared goals. And finally, in that mission development log and the science and engineering notebook, ELA standards around scientific writing are certain to come into play. Time estimates and expediting this lesson. The full lesson is estimated to take 3.5 hours. And to expedite this lesson, some things you might think about are assigning different resources to each student or group of students and have them share what they have become an expert in via something like a jigsaw. Or you could give the students the Venus resources, including the Loteria game, to explore outside of class time. For more information and support about this lesson and the entire Earth to Venus companion course, please visit our website, NESSP.org, and don't forget that W. Good luck with Lesson 1.